The burning. The morning sun rose over Colony 7 like any other day. Children laughed in the streets. Farmers checked their crops. Sarah Chen sat in the colony's small defense station, drinking coffee and watching the empty stars on her monitor. It was peaceful. It was home. Then the sky turned dark. Sarah's coffee cup fell from her hand. The monitor screamed with alerts. Ships, dozens of them. No, hundreds. They appeared out of nowhere, surrounding the entire colony like wolves circling prey. What is that? Her partner James whispered. Sarah's hands shook as she pressed buttons. Unknown vessels. They're not responding to our signals. She tried again. This is Colony 7. Please identify yourselves. Silence. Then the first blast hit. The northern farming district exploded in flames. Sarah watched in horror as buildings turned to dust. People ran in every direction, screaming. Another blast. Then another. The aliens were not here to talk. They were here to destroy. Send a distress signal. Sarah shouted, "Now!" James grabbed the communications panel. His voice broke as he spoke. This is Colony 7. We are under attack. Unknown alien forces. They're burning everything. Please, someone help us. Anyone, please. The defense station rocked. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. We have to fight back, James said. Sarah activated their weapons. Colony 7 was a small settlement. They only had basic defense guns. Nothing big, nothing strong. But they had to try. The colony's guns fired into the sky. Blue energy bolts shot toward the alien ships. They hit the shields and disappeared like raindrops on glass. The alien ships did not even slow down. It's not working, James yelled. Outside, Sarah could see people running. Mothers carried children. Old men helped each other. The colonial militia fired their rifles at the sky. It was useless. The alien weapons were too powerful. Another explosion shook the ground. The school was hit. Sarah's heart stopped. Her sister taught at that school. 30 children studied there every day. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The alien ships moved in a pattern. Organized, calculated. They were burning the colony section by section. This was not a random attack. This was planned. This was murder. Who are they? James asked. Why are they doing this? Sarah zoomed in on the ship designs. Her blood went cold. She recognized the symbols. The marks on the hull, that's the Galactic Council fleet, she said slowly. What? That's impossible. We have peace treaties with them. We're members of the— I know what we are, Sarah shouted. But look at the screen. Those are council ships. James stared at the monitor. He could not believe it. The Galactic Council. The same council that humanity joined 50 years ago. The same council that promised peace and friendship between all species. They were the ones burning Colony 7. The communications panel crackled. Finally, a voice came through. Cold, emotionless. Human colony designated 7. You have violated galactic law. Your presence in this sector is forbidden. This is your punishment. Sarah grabbed the microphone. Violated what law? We've been here for 20 years. You approved this colony. That approval is revoked. You do not belong here. You do not belong anywhere. The transmission ended. Sarah and James looked at each other. The truth hit them like a hammer. This was not about laws. This was not about their location. The Galactic Council wanted humans gone. We need to evacuate, Sarah said. The escape pods now. They ran through the burning station. Smoke filled the hallways. The heat was intense. Sarah could hear screaming outside. People dying. Her people. They reached the small hangar. Only 3 escape pods remained. Most had already launched. Sarah hoped they got away. She hoped someone survived. You take pod 2, Sarah told James. I'll take pod 3. What about pod 1? Sarah looked through the hangar window. A woman ran toward them, carrying a small child. Both were burned. Both were crying. Pod 1 is for them, Sarah said. She opened the hangar door. The woman stumbled inside. Sarah grabbed the child and put him in pod 1. She strapped the woman in beside him. Go to Earth, Sarah told her. Tell them what happened here. The woman grabbed Sarah's hand. Come with us. No room. Go now. Sarah hit the launch button. Pod 1 shot into space. She watched it disappear into the stars. Then she turned to James. Let's go. They climbed into their pods. Sarah took one last look at Colony 7 through the window. Her home was burning. Everything she knew was turning to ash. 50,000 people lived here this morning. Now maybe a few hundred would escape. The alien ships fired again. The main colony building collapsed. Sarah closed her pod door and launched. As her pod flew away from the planet, she looked back. Colony 7 was a ball of fire now. Nothing remained. The alien ships stayed in orbit, making sure everything burned. Sarah's hands curled into fists. Tears ran down her face. Not from sadness. From rage. A human patrol ship picked up her pod an hour later. They pulled her inside. The captain looked at her with sad eyes. Colony 7? He asked. Gone, Sarah whispered. All of them. The Galactic Council did this. The captain's face went pale. That's an act of war. Sarah looked at him. Her eyes were hard now, cold. Take me to Earth Command, she said. They need to know something. Know what? The Galactic Council just made the biggest mistake in history. They declared war on the wrong species. The patrol ship turned toward Earth. Behind them, Colony 7 burned in the darkness of space. A grave for 50,000 souls, but this was not the end. This was only the beginning. The awakening, the war room deep inside Earth Command, was silent. 50 military leaders sat around a massive table. Screens covered the walls, showing star maps and fleet positions. Admiral Marcus Webb stood at the head of the table, his face like stone. Sarah Chen stood beside him. She had just finished her report. Her voice was steady, but her hands still shook. How many died? Webb asked quietly. All of them, sir. 50,000 civilians. Men, women, children. The council ships burned everything. The silence in the room was heavy. Some officers closed their eyes. Others clenched their fists. One woman wiped tears from her face. Webb looked at the screens. Colony 7 had been a beautiful place. Now it was just rocks and ash. Did they give a reason? He asked. They said we violated galactic law, that our presence was forbidden. But sir, we've had treaties with them for 50 years. They approved that colony themselves. So this was planned. Yes, sir. This was murder. Webb turned to face the room. Every eye was on him. These were Earth's greatest military minds. Generals, admirals, strategic commanders. They had trained for this moment. They had prepared for this day. But now that it was here, the weight felt crushing. Recommendations? Webb asked. General Park spoke first. We have 1,000 warships in active service. The Galactic Council has 50,000. If we fight them directly, we lose. So we surrender. Another officer asked angrily. I didn't say that. Admiral Rodriguez stood up. She was old. She had fought in the Mars Rebellion 40 years ago. She understood war, sir, she said. I think it's time. Webb looked at her. You're sure? They killed our children. Yes, I'm sure. Webb nodded slowly. He walked to a wall panel and placed his hand on it. A scanner read his fingerprint, his heartbeat, his DNA. Then he spoke clearly. Authorization code, Web Alpha 770. Emergency protocol Midnight Sun. The room's lights dimmed. Every screen went dark for 3 seconds. Then they came back on, showing something new. Something secret, coordinates, hundreds of them. Hidden locations throughout human space. What am I looking at? A young officer asked. Rodriguez smiled. It was not a kind smile. You're looking at humanity's insurance policy, she said. Webb pressed another button. The screens changed. Now they showed shipyards, massive construction facilities hidden in asteroid fields, buried inside frozen moons, concealed behind gas giants. Every single one was building warships. This is Project Dreadnought, Webb said. We started it 200 years ago, right after first contact with alien species. The room erupted. Officers stood up, shouting questions. 200 years. How did we keep this secret? How many ships are we talking about? Why didn't we know about this? Webb raised his hand. Silence returned. When we first met the Galactic Council, they seemed friendly. But our scientists, our leaders, they asked one question. What if they're not? What if one day they decide humanity is a threat? What if they try to wipe us out? He zoomed in on one of the shipyards. It was enormous, bigger than a city, so we prepared. Every generation we built more facilities. We automated the construction. We used AI to run everything. And we waited. Waited for what? Someone asked. For the day when someone tried to destroy us? Webb changed the screen again. Now it showed numbers, fleet counts, ship classifications, weapon systems. Sarah's eyes went wide. She could not believe what she was seeing. That number, she whispered. That can't be right. It is, Webb said. General Park leaned forward. How many ships do we actually have? Webb's voice was steady. Currently operational, 467,000 Dreadnought-class warships. Under construction, 33,000 more. Total combat fleet, 500,000 vessels. The room exploded again. This time Webb let them talk. They needed to process this. They needed to understand 500,000 warships. The Galactic Council had 50,000 and thought they ruled the galaxy. Humanity had 10 times that number, and the Council had no idea. Why didn't we use them before? An officer asked. We could have expanded our territory, taken more colonies. Because we're not conquerors, Rodriguez said firmly. We built these ships for defense only. We chose peace. We chose to trust the galaxy. And they betrayed that trust, Webb added. They murdered our people. They burned our children alive. He pressed another button. A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed the Galactic Council chambers on their capital world. This was recorded 6 hours ago, Webb said. The hologram showed council members, dozens of alien species. They were laughing, celebrating. A tall insectoid creature spoke. The human colony is destroyed. A perfect operation. No survivors. Another alien covered in scales nodded. Excellent. Humanity will complain, but what can they do? They're weak. They have a tiny fleet. They'll accept our terms or we'll burn more colonies. The council chamber filled with laughter. Webb turned off the hologram. The officers in the Earth Command war room were silent, but their faces showed pure rage. They think we're weak, Webb said quietly. They think they can terrorize us. They think we'll bow down and accept their rule. He looked around the room. At every face, every officer, they're wrong. Webb activated the final screen. It showed a battle plan, fleet movements, attack vectors, targets. Here's what's going to happen, he said. Right now the Galactic Council is gathering their fleet. They expect us to negotiate. They expect us to beg. Instead, we're going to show them something they've never seen before. What's that, sir? Sarah asked. Webb's eyes were cold, hard, an angry humanity. He began giving orders, fast, precise. Admiral Rodriguez, activate all Dreadnought facilities. I want every ship ready for combat in 6 months. Yes, sir. General Park, begin moving our fleets to Assembly Point Titan. Do it quietly. Use stealth systems. The Council can't know we're coming. Understood, sir. Commander Chen. Sarah stood straight. Sir, you're promoted to Admiral. Effective immediately. You'll command the lead Dreadnought. We're naming it Colony's Vengeance. Sarah's throat tightened. Sir, I'm just a colony defense officer. I'm not qualified to... You watched your home burn. You watched your people die. You survived to tell us what happened. That makes you the most qualified person in this room. Will you accept? Sarah thought about her sister, about the children at the school. About 50,000 souls turned to ash. Yes, sir. I accept. Webb nodded. Good. Now let's talk about our message to the Galactic Council. What message? Someone asked. Webb smiled. It was a terrible smile. We send them a simple response. 3 words, he typed on his console. A text message appeared on every screen. We are coming. That's it? Park asked. That's all they need to know, Webb said. No threats. No explanations. Just those 3 words. Let them wonder. Let them worry. And in 6 months, let them burn. Meanwhile, thousands of light years away, a Galactic Council spy sat in a hidden monitoring station. Her job was to watch human communications. It was boring work. Humans rarely said anything interesting. Then her screen lit up. Multiple signals, all across human space. Hidden facilities activating. Power signatures going online. Construction shipyards working at full capacity. She started scanning the transmissions, decoding the data. Her 4 eyes went wide with shock. No, she whispered. That's impossible. Her hands moved faster, checking the numbers again and again. They didn't change. Fleet count, 500,000 Dreadnought-class warships. Status, arming for war. Target, Galactic Council space. The spy's breathing became rapid. She had to report this. She had to warn the Council. She reached for the communications panel, but she hesitated. Her species had been part of the Council for 3,000 years. They had conquered dozens of weaker races. They had crushed rebellions. They had burned worlds that refused to obey. Now something worse was coming. Something that made her species' greatest fleet look like toys. She sent the message. Emergency. Human fleet count confirmed. 500,000 warships. I repeat, 500,000. Recommend immediate withdrawal from all human borders. They are preparing for total war. On Earth, Admiral Webb saw the intercepted Council transmission. He knew they had detected Project Dreadnought. Good, let them know. Let them be afraid. He looked at the countdown timer on his screen. Time until fleet launch. 180 days. 6 months, he said quietly. The Council has 6 months to realize their mistake. 6 months to understand what they've done. Sarah stood beside him, watching the timer count down. And then, she asked. Webb's face was carved from ice. And then humanity gives its reply. The Armada 6 months passed like a storm building on the horizon. The Galactic Council received Earth's message. 3 simple words, we are coming. At first, they laughed. Then their spies sent reports. Reports that made them stop laughing. 500,000 human warships. Impossible, they said. A mistake. Bad intelligence. But the reports kept coming. Every spy said the same thing. Every surveillance system showed the same numbers. The Council stopped laughing and started preparing for war. Admiral Sarah, Chen stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought, Colony's Vengeance. The ship was massive, 5 kilometers long, weapons covering every surface, shields that could withstand a star's heat, and it was just one ship among 500,000. Status report, Sarah said. Her second officer, Lieutenant Commander Hayes, checked his console. All systems online. Weapons charged. Shields at maximum. We're ready, Admiral. Sarah looked out the viewing window. Space around her ship rippled and tore. One by one, human dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace. Massive steel warships appearing like ghosts in the darkness. 10 ships, then 100, then 1,000. They kept coming. The assembly point was near Titan, Saturn's largest moon. It was far from Earth but close enough to coordinate, and it was big enough to hold 500,000 warships. How many ships have arrived? Sarah asked. 497,000 and counting, Hayes replied. We're still waiting for the outer sector fleets. Sarah watched the ships take formation. Perfect lines, perfect spacing, centuries of planning and preparation. This was humanity's hidden strength, finally revealed. Admiral, the communications officer called. We're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Webb wants to speak with you. Put him through. Webb's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tired but determined. Admiral Chen, how's the fleet? Assembled and ready, sir. We can launch within the hour. Good. Because the Galactic Council just sent us a message. Sarah's jaw tightened. What did they say? They want to negotiate. They're offering to meet at neutral space. They say what happened at Colony 7 was a mistake. They want peace. A mistake? Sarah's voice was cold. They burned 50,000 people and call it a mistake? That's what they said. What was Earth's response? Webb's face became hard as iron. We sent them a recording. Your testimony about Colony 7. The screams of our people. The children dying. We sent them everything. And we told them there will be no negotiations. No peace talks, no mercy. We gave them one chance to surrender completely. They refused. Sarah nodded slowly. She expected that. The Council was arrogant. They ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They would never surrender to humans, so we're going to war, she said. Yes, but Sarah, you need to understand something. The Council is gathering their entire fleet, 50,000 warships, every ship they have. They're meeting us at the void between, that empty space between our territories. 50,000 against 500,000. They'll lose, they know that. But they're going anyway. They think they can win through superior tactics and experience. They've been fighting wars for thousands of years. We're still young. Sarah looked at her crew. Young officers, experienced soldiers, scientists who became warriors. They were ready. We may be young, Sarah said, but we fight for something they don't understand. We fight for family, for home, for the people they murdered. Webb smiled slightly. That's why you're leading this fleet, Admiral. Show them what humanity can do. Show them why they should have left us alone. The transmission ended. Sarah turned to her crew. All hands battle stations. Prepare for hyperspace jump. We're going to war. Alarms rang throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. Thousands of crew members ran to their positions. Weapon systems activated. Shield generators hummed with power. Admiral, Hayes said, we're receiving confirmation from all fleet commanders. 500,000 ships ready to jump on your command. Sarah took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would change galactic history forever. All ships, she said into the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Chen of the colony's vengeance. Today we go to meet the Galactic Council fleet. They think we're weak. They think we'll run. They murdered our people and expected us to accept it. She paused. 500,000 ships waited for her words. Today we teach them a lesson. Today we show them what happens when you attack humanity, when you burn our homes, when you kill our children. Today, the galaxy learns that humanity's mercy was a gift, and when you take that gift away, you face our wrath. Her hand hovered over the jump command. All ships, jump. Space exploded with light. 500,000 dreadnoughts tore through reality and disappeared into hyperspace. The largest military fleet ever assembled in galactic history was moving, and they were moving toward revenge. The void between was empty space. No stars, no planets, just darkness between human territory and council space. It was the perfect battlefield. Nothing to destroy, no innocent lives in danger. The Galactic Council fleet arrived first. 50,000 warships in tight formation. Every species in the council contributed ships. Insectoid cruisers, reptilian battleships, energy beings piloting crystal vessels. The most powerful military force the galaxy had ever known. Council Admiral Zekthar stood on his flagship's bridge. He was old. He had fought in 100 wars. He had crushed rebellions on 50 worlds. He was confident. Status? He asked his officers. All ships in position, Admiral. Weapons ready. We've deployed long-range scanners. No sign of the human fleet yet. Zekthar nodded. They'll come. Humans are emotional, angry. They'll attack without thinking. And when they do, we'll cut them apart. Sir, what if the reports are true? What if they really have 500,000 ships? Zekthar laughed. Impossible. Those are terror numbers. Propaganda. Humans have maybe 5,000 ships at most. We'll outnumber them 10 to 1. Another officer spoke up nervously. But sir, multiple spy reports confirmed. I know what the report said. Zekthar snapped. And I'm telling you they're wrong. Humans can't build that many ships. They don't have the resources. They don't have the technology. They're bluffing. Yes, sir. Zekthar looked at the empty space ahead. When this battle is over, we'll burn 10 more human colonies. 20. We'll teach them their place in this galaxy. They'll learn to fear us. Then space began to ripple. Sir, a sensor officer shouted. Hyperspace signatures detected. How many ships? I don't know. The scanners are going crazy. Hundreds of signatures. No, thousands. Sir, they're still coming. Zekthar stepped forward. What? The viewing screen showed space tearing apart. Human dreadnoughts emerged one after another. Massive ships, each one bigger than anything in the council fleet. 10 ships appeared. Then 100. Then 1,000. Then 10,000. They kept coming. The council bridge went silent. Officers stared at the screens in disbelief. The human ships formed perfect battle lines, stretching across thousands of kilometers. Count them, Zekthar whispered. The sensor officer's hands shook. 100,000 ships, 200,000, 300,000. Sir, they're still coming. 400,000, 500. Stop. Everyone looked at Zekthar. His face had gone pale. His 4 eyes were wide with shock. How many? He asked quietly. 500,000 dreadnought-class warships, sir. Confirmed. The bridge was silent. 50,000 council ships faced 500,000 human ships. 10 to 1 odds. But not in the council's favor. Zekthar had been wrong. Terribly, horribly wrong. So what are your orders? Zekthar stared at the screen. 500,000 warships, each one bristling with weapons, each one ready to kill. He had fought 100 wars, but he had never seen anything like this. Open a channel to the human fleet, he said. Emergency diplomatic frequency. Sir, Earth Command said no negotiations. I don't care. Open the channel. The communications officer activated the link. Zekthar's voice broadcast across the void. Human fleet, this is Council Admiral Zekthar. We wish to discuss terms. Perhaps we can find a peaceful solution. What happened at Colony 7 was unauthorized. We can make reparations. We can... A voice cut him off. Cold, female, angry. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the human fleet. I was at Colony 7. I watched your ships burn my home. I watched my sister die. I watched children burn alive. Zekthar felt ice in his veins. Admiral Chen, please. We can negotiate. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy, Sarah said. Now let us teach you yours. Her next words were broadcast across every human ship. 500,000 captains heard her command. 500,000 crews prepared their weapons. All ships, Sarah said. Fire! The space between the fleets turned white. Energy beams, missiles, plasma cannons, kinetic weapons, every type of weapon humanity had created, all firing at once. The light was so bright it could be seen from nearby star systems. The Council fleet's shields lit up, trying to absorb the damage. But there was too many weapons, too much power. Council ships began to explode. Return fire. Zekthar screamed. All ships return fire. The Council fleet shot back. Their weapons were powerful, advanced. But they had 50,000 ships firing at 500,000 targets. The human Dreadnoughts' shields absorbed the damage easily. Their armor was thick. Their technology was advanced. 200 years of secret development. 200 years of preparing for this exact moment. Not a single human ship took critical damage. But Council ships exploded by the dozens. Then by the hundreds. Retreat! Zekthar shouted. All ships retreat. Fall back to Council space. The Council fleet tried to turn, tried to run. But the human ships moved faster. They surrounded them, trapped them. So we've lost 30% of our fleet. An officer reported. 40%. 50%. Zekthar watched his armada die. This wasn't a battle. This was an execution. On the colony's Vengeance Bridge, Sarah watched the Council fleet burn. She felt no joy, no satisfaction. Just cold determination, Admiral, Hayes said quietly. They're trying to surrender. Multiple ships broadcasting white flag signals. Ignore them, Sarah said. They didn't accept Colony 7's surrender. We don't accept theirs. But Admiral, those are my orders, Commander. Hayes looked at her. Then he nodded. Yes, Ma'am. The human fleet continued firing. The void between filled with debris and fire. The greatest military force in galactic history was being destroyed in less than an hour. Finally, Sarah raised her hand. Cease fire! The human weapons went silent. The space ahead was filled with wreckage. Of the 50,000 Council ships, less than 5,000 remained. They were damaged, drifting, defenseless. Sarah opened a channel to the surviving Council ships. Council forces. You came here to destroy us. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Now you'll deliver a message to your leaders, she paused. Let them wait. Let them fear. Tell them this war is not over. Tell them we're coming to Council space. Tell them we'll visit every world that approved the attack on Colony 7. And tell them that humanity's mercy is gone. They took it from us when they burned our children. She cut the transmission. All ships, she ordered. Form up plot course to Council space. We're not done yet. 500,000 Dreadnoughts turned as one. They left the wreckage behind and jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, the surviving Council ships floated in the darkness. Their crews sat in shock. They had just witnessed the impossible. Humanity had replied. And their reply was 500,000 Dreadnoughts strong.